theyeshiva.net.
Zok the Heilige Gemarah, Pesachim daf Yud Beis Amud Beis. So, the Gemarah finished explaining the shittas of Reb Meir and Reb Yehuda in our Mishnah. In the Mishnah, Daf Yud Aleph Amud Beis, where Reb Meir said that you have to stop eating chametz 1 hour before the Zman Min HaTorah. Meaning, you can eat chametz the whole 5th hour, but the 6th hour, if sunrise is 6 o'clock from 11 to 12, you can't eat chametz, and of course you can't benefit from chametz, and you have to burn chametz in the beginning of the 6th hour. That was Reb Meir's shit. Rabbi Yehuda says, no, we got to go 2 hours back. The Chazal's Gzeira was already the 5th hour. You shouldn't eat chametz. You should only eat chametz till the end of the 4th hour. So not only from 11 to 12, but also from 10 to 11, you should not be eating chametz. But that hour, you could still benefit from chametz. You could still feed it to your animals. You could still gift it to somebody. You could still sell it to a Gentile. And then, taka, in the beginning of the 6th hour, you will also burn your chametz. So Rabbi Yehuda pushed back the Isser an hour earlier. And the Gemarah was trying to reconcile it at length with the Mishnah in Sanhedrin, and finally reached the conclusion. And what was the conclusion? The conclusion was that even though in Sanhedrin, Rabbi Yehuda tainas that a person is prone to error 3 hours, but nonetheless, here by chametz, he's much more lenient. He doesn't go back 3 hours, he only goes back 2 hours. And the reason is because here it's a difference between the 5th hour and the 7th hour. Right? It's a difference between 10 and 12. We're afraid that it's going to be 12 and you're going to think it's 10. And that is a much different, much more, a completely different type of mistake, because at 10 o'clock the sun is in the east, and 12 o'clock the sun is in the west, and therefore Rabbi Yehuda is not afraid of a 3 hour error from 12 to 9. He only says from 12 to 10. Even 10 o'clock shouldn't be an Isur. You should let him eat 10 o'clock as well. Mela, the 6th hour, you could say the sun is above you. But the 5th hour? So Abaye said the reason is because when it comes to chametz, it's not only for witnesses, it's for everybody, and therefore people are more prone to error. So Rabbi Yehuda was afraid of even 10 o'clock. By Eidus, that would be unacceptable, such a mistake between the 5th hour and the 7th hour. But by chametz, it's Masur L'Koil. Rava gave a reason. Initially, what was Rava's reason? The reason has nothing to do with a mistake. The reason has to do with giving people an hour to collect lumber to be able to burn their chametz. Rabbi Yehuda holds you have to burn chametz. And because he holds you have to burn chametz, the Chachamim said stop eating chametz at 10 o'clock. So you have a full hour you can't eat, and you'll remember to collect wood for the sreifa, which is going to be in the beginning of the 6th hour. On this, they asked Rava, Ravina asked Rava, it doesn't make sense because we have a brayso where Rabbi Yehuda said, when do you do bir chametz? Only shaloi b'shas biyurai. But b'shas biyurai, you could eliminate chametz through anything. And the way Rashi explained it is, when does Rabbi Yehuda hold that you burn chametz with a fire only? When you're doing it shaloi b'shas biyurai. Thank you. What's shaloi b'shas biyurai? As Rashi said, the 6th hour, when the chametz is still mutar midin Torah. But the 7th hour, Rabbi Yehuda says, Hashbasasa b'chal davar, you destroy it through anything. So if Rabbi Yehuda holds that way, so then the Cha'ira, let him just wait to the beginning of the 7th hour, even if there's no wood and there's a problem. At worst comes to worst, he'll burn in the beginning of the 7th hour. So Rava said the real answer is Yoima Ma'unan. He was afraid of a cloudy day, and because it's a cloudy day, even though the sun is in the west, but nonetheless, if it's a cloudy day, you don't see it, and you could think it's 10 o'clock, and really it's 12 o'clock. The sun is in the west, it's in the west, but it's a cloudy day, and because it's a cloudy day, you get confused, and you don't see it clearly, and therefore you may come to eat chametz. 9 o'clock also, if you're worried about a cloudy day, 9 o'clock too. On this, Rav Papa told us 9 o'clock is different because the 4th hour is man su'uda lakoil. It's a time that everybody eats, so your biological clock, when you're coming to, Taisa says, when you're coming to food, and you have chametz in your hand, and you want to eat it, and you were afraid that, it's really 12 o'clock, and you're going to think it's 9 o'clock because it's a cloudy day, but the fact is that hour, people know. They just know when is that hour because they can feel it. And if it's taka 12 o'clock, it's not going to feel like 9 o'clock. Even if it's 11 o'clock, it's not going to feel like 9 o'clock. Even if it's 10 o'clock, it's not going to feel like 9 o'clock. Why? Not because people don't make mistakes. Because this is the hour that the body is used to eating. This is Monsey the lakal. Everybody eats that hour. So your biological system, your biological clock tells you this is 9 o'clock, this is time to eat. By 8, this doesn't apply because it's not food, but this applies, we explained in last year, but this applies to food, and therefore for 9 o'clock, he's not worried you're going to make a mistake. You know when 9. 10 o'clock, however, I am worried, and the reason I'm worried is even though the sun is in the east, and 12 o'clock the sun is in the west, because Yom HaMa'unan, a cloudy day. Zok the Gemarah Tanu Rabbanan. The rabbis taught 3 lines before the wide lines. 3 lines before the wide lines. Shar Rishayna Tanu Rabbanan, Shar Rishayna, the first hour of the day, Maicha Ludim, is the time when the Ludim eat. The first hour, again, let's assume that sunrise was 6 o'clock. You know who eats their meals from 6 to 7? An interesting group of people. They were called the Ludim. Who are the Ludim? So Rashi tells us in Maseches Shabbos that Ludim was a tribe of cannibals. They were cannibals. Yeah, that's what Rashi says in Maseches Shabbos. I don't know if you have the Gemarahs on the side where they quoted Rashis from other Masechtas. It's called Likutei Rashi. But the Lashon of Rashi in Shabbos is Ummah. It's a nation, a tribe. They called them Kanalinch, V'oichlei Adam Heim. They were cannibals. Imagine. V'heim Rav Sonin. They're very, very hungry. Very, very hungry. Like Chayas. Behem Chayas. They eat the first hour of the day. 6 o'clock is their meal time. In other words, they want to eat as early as possible. People would wake up with dawn break, sunrise, and that's when they would eat. Right away. Shniya, second hour, is Maichalistim. That's when the gangs, the thieves eat. Maichalistim. They're also very hungry. They're also gluttonous. They live for food. They steal, they're listim. They're also gluttonous. They eat as early as possible. So why don't they do it the first hour? The answer is because basically they're up during the night. That's when they do their job. So they sleep in a little bit. Because they sleep in a little bit, that you would usually eat the second hour of the day. Rashi, Ludim v'listim rav sanim hein. They're gluttonous. Elashal listim nu'urin kol halayla v'yishenim shachris shar rishayna v'oichlim b'shniya. They're up at night. They need some sleep. So they sleep from 6 to 7, or from whatever it is, and then 7 o'clock, the second hour. Again, I'm saying 7. It could be much earlier. It's the second hour of the day. That's when they eat. Shlishis, Michael Yershin. Quite interesting. The third hour is the Michael of Yershin. You know who Yershin are? Yershin are people who inherited a lot of money. So they don't basically have to work for food. They don't need to prepare the food. They have enough money to spend. They can hire help. They don't have to go search. They don't have to prepare. So they can eat earlier in the day. And that's why they eat the third hour. That's the Yershim. Rashi, Lav Mishum Rav Sonos. It's not because they're gluttonous. Elohoil v'loi amlu boy. They don't need amelus. They don't need to toil and harder and work hard. They're Yershim. They inherited a large sum of money, and because of that, they are not tarut. They're not consumed by earning a livelihood, by running for parnosa, and they have time. They have time on their hands, and therefore they can eat earlier than everybody else. They wake up, and then the third hour they're already having their morning primary meal. And therefore, it's not like in America where many people don't even eat in the morning, and the meal becomes in the evening. But in these times, it wasn't that way. The morning meal was the meal. Digestion is easier and faster and better. They say the morning meal. So they did it the third hour. Would be like, let's say, 8-ish. Next, Revius Michael Poyalin. The fourth hour is the time that the Poyalin means employees. Employees eat. Chamishis Michael Talmidei Chachamim. Fifth hour is the time Talmidei Chachamim eat. Shishis Michael Kol Adam. The sixth hour is the time that the ordinary person eats. Fascinating brayse. Frag the Gemarah, I don't understand. Ha'amar Rav Papa, you just told us Rav Papa said, Revi is man suda l'kaili. The fourth hour is the time when everybody eats and everybody is bucky in that meal and everybody knows. When you explained that Rabbi Yehuda wasn't geyser, that you're not allowed to eat chametz on the fourth hour because you may mistake it with the seventh hour on a cloudy day, and you answered, no, everyone knows that hour because zman suda l'kaili. So you know when it's 9 o'clock, and if it's really 12 o'clock, you're not going to confuse it with 9 o'clock. Gival the kavart of Rav Papa to explain Rabbi Yehuda. But this brayse tells us that Michael Kol Adam is the sixth hour. Ela Eipuch, obviously, Rav Papa held, you got to change the version of the brayse. Revius Michael Kol Adam. We said that the fourth hour is the Michael of the employees, the fifth Talmidei Chachamim, and the sixth every person. The real girsa is Revius Michael Kol Adam. The fourth hour is the time of the meal for the ordinary person. Chamishis Michael Poyalim. The fifth hour is the time when the employees work. They must delay their suda later because they're hired. They're hired by the owners and the masters. They don't have free reign to decide when they're going to eat. This is what we call today lunch hour. Yeah, you can't just go. You're an employee. You work for people. So they had the fifth hour. And then Shishis was Michael Talmidei Chachamim. The sixth hour was the time of Talmidei Chachamim. That's when they ate. So Mela, Rav Papa's view is maintained that Shor Revius is Michael Kol Adam, and therefore Rabbi Yehuda Tainus, there's no need to be geyser. Fascinating. And the brayse concludes, Mikan ve'elech, if you eat afterwards, Kezoirik Evan Lachemes. It's like hurling a stone, throwing a stone into a chemes. A chemes is usually a leather barrel that was filled with wine. Basically, as the Mefarshim explain, the Magen Avraham explains at Shulchan Aruch, in our Chaim Kufnun Zayin, where the Mechaber speaks about the times of eating, and this brayse is quoted. So he says what the Gemarah means is when you throw a stone, a rock, into a barrel that's not filled with wine, so the wine will go up because you threw in a stone into the rock, the wine will go up. It looks like the barrel is full, but the barrel is not really filled with wine because you put in rocks. So he says sometimes you eat, it looks like you're getting filled. It looks like the wine is rising. It looks like you're getting filled up and the body is satiated. But if you're eating in the wrong time, it can be damaging, or at least it's not very effective if you eat later in the day. After the 6 hours, because interesting, like you throw a stone into a barrel of water. It looks like the wine is getting filled up. You're not getting filled up. In other words, biologically, it's not very effective or very helpful. Perhaps digestion reasons. This is a qualification. It's only if the person didn't eat anything in the morning. If you ate something in the morning, if you were toyim, then it's fine to have your meal then. So Mamela the Maskana is the cannibals eat the first hour, the thieves and the thugs the second hour, the spoiled brats, not the spoiled brats, the Yarshim, the inheritors who are somewhat spoiled. At the third hour, the Michael Kol Adam, the ordinary person, the fourth hour, the Poyalim, the employees, the fifth hour, and Talmidei Chachamim, the sixth hour. Till the end of 6 hours, and afterwards the brayse is not a fan of having the meal. One should not eat unless you were toyim in the morning. This is the time of the Talmud. They had 2 meals a day. 2 meals a day. Yeah. That was the chiddush of Shabbos. That's sholosh su'ud. There's 3 meals, but generally during the day there were 2 meals. Yeah, that was the seder. Yeah, 2 meals a day in the morning. We see here the morning meal and in the evening. So the Talmidei Chachamim would push off their Suda 2 hours after everybody. Why would they push over their Suda 2 hours after everybody? Yeah. So you might say, it's a very why they push it off? Why can't they eat Sharavis? If they're Poyalim, I understand. You got to ask the boss, what's in the contract? But they're not Poyalim. And obviously, they have the freedom to eat. But they still pushed it off. So you might say, because they're learning, they don't want to stop their learning. But Talmidei Chachamim, after the meal, they're also going to go back to learning, right? So Shah Shishas, they're going to stop their learning. So one way of learning it, many learn, you're right, they delayed it as much as possible. At some point, as he says, after the 6th hour, it's not good to eat. So you have to eat. The person has to be healthy. But they didn't, even though in time-wise, let's say they dedicated a half an hour to eating, that half an hour they could do earlier. And then the half an hour when they're eating, they'll learn. They're anyway now going to eat and stop learning. But apparently they delayed it as much as possible in order to be able to learn as much as possible. So that's a very interesting thing that's brought in the Shulchan Aruch in Kuf Nun Zayin, that Talmidei Chachamim did it 2 hours later. There's a deeper vart I once saw. I actually made a copy for you. It's quite an insight into this. If you want to give out the copies, I'll just read it to you fast. Just a very interesting insight into this Gemarah. Why Talmidei Chachamim ate 2 hours later? This is after the Lubavitcher Rebbe passed away in 1994, they found in his desk journals of Chidushei Torah that he wrote in his youth. So they printed it. So this is something he wrote, Tofresh Tzadik Aleph, 1931. He says, he heard this probably from his father-in-law, from the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. Oimrim b'shem Baal Shem Tov. They say from the Baal Shem Tov, Wenn a Yidin sitta hearts as a will essen. When a Jew, his heart, sitta hearts means the heart gravitates, yeah? So it's sitta hearts. He wants to eat. Zeu is oirus b'haneshama. It's not stam, the body is gluttonous, the body is hungry. There's a trigger in the soul. Shaneshama is gagas l'makayra. The soul is really hungry. The soul zuchtapus. The neshama, I'm looking for something. There's a quest here, a deeper quest. I'm looking for my source. I'm looking to go back to myself. Just like the flame, it says always rises, right? It sways. It's never content because it wants to go back to its source. So the neir is never content. A person doesn't feel the spiritual quest of his neshama. So the way it's translated is, I'm hungry, I want to eat. So there's two things happening simultaneously. On one level, the way I'm experiencing it is, I want to eat. And on a deeper level, the neshama is really hungry for something, for its type of food. But I may not be aware of it. So the way I translate it is into physical food. And I think that by eating the physical food, I'm going to, of course, satisfy that quest, even though it's a completely different quest. The truth is, in another place, the Baal Shem Tov says that it's not just two separate things, they're connected, because in the food there are netzutzos of Kedusha, there are sparks of holiness, and the neshama wants to elevate them. So it's not just the neshama wants to go back to its source, sometimes the neshama also wants to eat. That's how the Pasuk says in Tehillim Kov Zayin, some say, Erev Shabbos Hoidu, Re'evim gam tzmeim, nafsham bahem tis'atov. That's what the Baal Shem Tov said. You're hungry, you're thirsty. You know why? Because nafsham behem tisatov. Because the neshama tisatov is tefillah lani chiyatov. The neshama is thirsty. So it's mamish, you're hungry and thirsty, nafsham tisatov. That's the Baal Shem Tov. Ubazeh pirish admar hazaken inyin shahayu marivim atzman beis shayas. With this, the Baal HaTanya explained why the Gemarah says here Pesachim. It's also Gemarah in Shabbos, that the Talmidei Chachamim would stay hungry another 2 hours. Why? Not stam torture. Because they identified what the real hunger is. Because they identified what the real hunger is. The real hunger is the soul is looking for its source. So they satiated the hunger. How do you satiate the hunger? But mustn't the Torah with the food of Torah. And then they dealt with the other layer of hunger, which is that the body also biologically needs to eat. So the base shayas, it wasn't stam, we're not eating. No, we're actually eating for real. We're not going to only respond to the external craving. We're going to eat for real. We're going to respond to the internal thing. Which, by the way, stam, on another level, in a lot of people's lives, a lot of eating, right, is not just eating because we know it constantly, just because my body pashat needs the food. then it's a completely different type of eating. The eating is often a distraction of different desires and yearnings we have, and you eat and you feel good for a few minutes, and it takes your mind off what you're really looking for. So actually the eating is not responding to what you're looking for. The Danish is not going to do it, because the Danish is simply a cover-up to a much deeper yearning that a person has. So the delaying of the food wasn't delaying of the food in a negative way not to eat. It was actually addressing the pnimius of what the hunger is. And that's why they ate b'shei shayos. Sag the Gemarah weiter. Amar Rabashi.
Explanation in the Tanya.
So in Tanya Perek of Zion he says, Mahoya marivim atzman beis shayos, right? Iskafya sitra achera. So also the word is that there's a pnimius the kavod. Iskafya sitra achera doesn't just mean breaking. Sitra achera, it means not allowing the klippa to become a cover-up for the pnimius. Right? Being kaifa, the chitzoni is that the pnimius should be able to express itself. Yeah. Shabbos, obviously, they ate earlier, yeah. Amar Rabashi said, Kemachloikas be'edis, kach machloikas bechametz. To say machloikas that Rabbi Yehuda had by edis is the same machloikas they have by chametz. Just like in Sanhedrin, Daf Mem. Reb Meir says that if one witness says the second hour and one witness says the third hour, you accept them. But if one witness says the third hour, one witness says the fifth hour, you don't accept them, because Reb Meir limits the margin of error. Reb Yehuda expands the margin of error. He says even if there's a discrepancy that is larger, you still accept them. If 1/8 says the third hour, 1/8 says the fifth hour, you still accept them. So Rabashi says the same achleikus is by chametz, that we see Rabbi Yehuda believes people make an error more than Reb Meir, and therefore Rabbi Yehuda says you're not allowed to eat chametz already in the beginning of the fifth hour. Reb Meir says you're not allowed to eat chametz at the beginning of the sixth hour. That's what Reb Ashi tells us. Zok the Gemarah pshita hainu hachtam rinon. This is the whole sugya that we were talking about. The whole sugya here was showing that Reb Meir and Rabbi Yehuda fits the sugya in Sanhedrin. So Rabashi is now coming and saying, by the way, the machlokes here fits with the machlokes there. Obviously, Rabashi doesn't mean the machlokes fits perfectly. It doesn't fit perfectly. Because in Sanhedrin, Rabbi Yehuda says people could make a mistake 3 hours. In Sanhedrin, Reb Meir says people could make a mistake 2 hours, at least the way Rav understood it. Over here, Reb Meir says mistake 1 hour. Rabbi Yehuda says 2 hours. So it's not mamish the same machlokes. He just means it's the same mahalach, the same shnit. Rabbi Yehuda is more concerned than Reb Meir. That you see in both places. Rabbi Ashi is not saying it's mamish the same machlokes. It's not. It's different. It's just the same shnit, the same wavelength, the same pattern. But that's what we've been saying. Hainu achtam rina. So Rabbi says, Hakamash. Rabbi Ashi is telling you something. Don't think he's saying a chiddush. Shinuya de shaninon shinuyahu. Interesting expression. Shinuya de shaninon shinuyahu. The answers that we learned are answers. V'loy teimet hanoihi. You might say that the only way to reconcile the two Mishnahs between Sanhedrin and Pesachim is to say there's a machloikas hatanoim what Reb Meir and Rabbi Yehuda felt. In Sanhedrin, the Tana who wrote the Mishnah believed Reb Meir holds you could make a mistake 2 hours, Rabbi Yehuda 3 hours. And in Pesachim, it's a different Tana who holds that Reb Meir and Rabbi Yehuda have a different shitta. And if he would have written the Mishnah in Sanhedrin, it would have changed. You could say that. So the Bashi is saying absolutely not. All the answers that we said, why Reb Meir changed from Sanhedrin to Chametz, and why Rabbi Yehuda changed from Sanhedrin to Chametz, are applicable in reality, and therefore there's no need to say there's a machlokes hatanoim. It was taka hard to reconcile the Mishnahs. Why Reb Meir there says 2 hours and here 1, and why Rabbi Yehuda says there 3 hours and here 2 hours, and the Gemarah gave all of the different options to explain it. But Ashi is saying all those explanations are really good explanations, and there's no need to make a machlokes tanoim. What Reb Meir and Reb Yehuda, you would say that the Talmidim of Reb Yehuda and Reb Meir were arguing what they said, and therefore there are two different Mishnahs in Shas based on two different mahalchim of Reb Yehuda and Reb Meir. Reb Ashi says absolutely not. So one way of saying it is there's a machlokes, and that's it, you're done. So Reb Ashi says absolutely not, there's no machlokes. And what's taka the answer that Reb Ashi accepts? What's the answer? And the answer is, like we said, that by chametz, on one hand, there's less reason to be concerned. Why? Because the concern is always about the 7th hour, 12. And 12, the sun is in the west. So it's much less reason to be concerned. Where by Adis, 7 and 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, the sun is in the east. And a person doesn't have a clock, they're looking up in the sky, there's much more reason to be concerned. On the other hand, the Chachamim were afraid by chametz, even if not so much time, but less time. And the reason is either because chametz is universal, meaning it's not witnesses who are coming to Bezdin and know that they have to be prepped. It's every child, every man, every woman. And therefore, they're afraid of mistakes even when the sun is in the west. Or the other reason is because of the cloudy day, as the Gemarah said on the end, Yom HaMa'onan. Amar Reb Shimi bar Ashi, Reb Shimi, the son of Reb Ashi, said, Lo Shanu. When we said that when there's a little difference between the two witnesses, we accept them. Ella, it's only b'shoyos. If they made a mistake in hours, for example, somebody said that he saw the murder and it happened 7ish, and somebody said it happened 8ish or 9ish, then we explain, according to the Meir, according to the Yehuda, you might accept the testimony. Why? Because since they're judging the hour based on the sky's position, based on the sun's position in the sky, people are prone to error. Aval, what happens if they don't speak about hours? They actually speak about a physical reality. Echad Oimer, one says, Koidem Anetzachama. The murder happened before sunrise. The Echad Oimer Acher Anetzachama. Edusam Ptela. Now the Edus is bottle. Why? It's interesting. If one says 7 and one says 9, which is a difference of 2 hours, right? And as Rabbi Yehuda said, 1:1:8 says B'shah Shlishis. One says B'shah Chamishis. What's B'shah Shlishis? What's B'shah Chamishis? One says the 3rd hour, one says the 5th hour. So one says it happened 8ish, one says it happened 10ish, even though he could mean 8 and he could mean 10:59. So it's a difference of how much? From 8 to 11 is 3 hours. You will still hold up the Adis. Why? Because people could look up at the sky and I say it's 10 and you say it's 8. And I say it's 10:50 and you say it's 9. And they can make a mistake of 3 hours from 8 till 11. Chasam Mashri, you let them make a mistake. I said before sunrise, you said after sunrise. There may be a difference in 20 minutes. But nonetheless, because we didn't speak about an hour, we spoke about a metzias. Therefore, I do some tela. So I'm talking about a pshita. Obviously, what do you need a pshita about Ashi? Obviously, they're contradicting each other in a metzias. So the Gemarah says what he meant was one says before sunrise and one says in middle of sunrise, as the sun, the beginning of sunrise, as it started. Edusam tela, the edus is still bottle. Rashi says b'toich hanetz k'shamatzchil hanetz. He says before and he says it started. It's also Parshas. Why is it also Parshas? Just like if one 8 says he had an orange sweater and another 8 said he had a blue sweater. That's not the chkiros, it's the bdikas, right? We learned. Sheva chkiros, you can't say you don't know. If you don't know, it's not a good edus. But Sheva bdikas, you could say you don't know. So why do they ask all these supplementary questions? The answer is because we were trying to see if there's going to be a contradiction. What color is his hair? What color is his eyes? What type of tree was it? Exactly right. Rashi says, what's the instrument he used? All details. And if they contradict each other, we're going to nullify the edus. Why? Because what are you going to say? People are prone to error. What are they prone to error? They're prone to error when I look up at the sky in the morning and I see the sun. You might say it's the 2nd hour. I might say it's the 3rd hour. Over here, you could say both people were completely innocent, saying the truth. But what you call 7, I call 8. What you call 8, I call 9:30, because that's the only way we could look and judge time. But if we're talking about the sun, if we're talking about the physical sun, and you say the sun wasn't here, and the sun wasn't here, it's before sunrise. The ball of the sun did not ascend over the horizon. And I say the sun was here, even if it's the beginning of the nates. So this is Pasha, they're arguing about a physical metzias. Just like if somebody says day and somebody says night. You're not going to say the edus is bottle. And like we said, if 1/8 says the sun was in the east and 1/8 says the sun is in the west, again, you're not going to hold up the edus. Why? Because there's no error here. If there's no error, there's a real contradiction here, and one guy is making up a story. So it's the chayra dava pashat. So the Gemarah says, "Mao the time I would think tzavayu chadam milsa kamri." Both of the edus are saying one thing. They're saying the same thing. What says they're saying the same thing? They're telling the same exact story. I, the person said it was after sunrise. He made an innocent mistake because begiluya have a koi. Really, it was the giluya, meaning it was the light before the sunrise. Before sunrise, you have dawn break. Dawn break could be an hour before sunrise. So right before sunrise, there's still a gilui, there's a shine, there's a light. And he just saw radiance, luminescence. And he thought that it was the sun. Really, the sun didn't rise. Kamash Malon. So Rav Shimi tells us, we do not attribute this to a natural error. We say that this is suspicious. Somebody is making up his side of the story, and we're not going to accept the edus. Amar Reb Nachman, Amar Rav. Reb Nachman said in the name of Rav, halacha Rabbi Yehuda. The halacha is not like Reb Meir, the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda, that you have to stop eating chametz after the 4th hour. The 5th hour, you're not allowed to eat chametz, and you're allowed to benefit from chametz. But you're not allowed to eat chametz. So the 5th hour, you can enjoy the chametz through different methods of hana. You don't have to destroy it, but you're not allowed to eat it. And the beginning of the 6th hour, you have to destroy it. Amar le Rav Nachman. Rav challenged Reb Nachman. What was the challenge? So Reb Nachman, so big chiddush. Rav said Allah is like Rabbi Yehuda, not like Reb Meir. Amalei Rav Reb Nachman. So Rav said to Reb Nachman, Azat tzlacha b'chnesh gerich. Amalei. Wow, maybe we could send you up after davening every day.
I like the music. I told him, but you know what?
No, I don't mind the music. I'm happy that Jews are dancing. It's Chodesh Adar.
I don't get it exactly on me like
Amalei, thank you. Amalei Rav Reb Nachman. Rav said to Reb Nachman, "V'nei Mar, let the Rebbe, let the master say, Allah Reb Meir." Why? The Sosam Lantana Kavasei. Because we have another Mishnah later in Pesachim, in the 2nd Perek, Daf Chaf Aleph, where the Mishnah says an opinion, and the Stam Mishnah is like Reb Meir. So this means that the Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi who edited the Mishnah, he paskin like Reb Meir, because there's another Mishnah where Sasam Lanka Reb Meir, Sasam Lantana Kavasei. The Stam Mishnah, the regular Mishnah, follows Reb Meir. The Tanam, we see a later Mishnah, Chaf Aleph, Kol Shosha Muter Lechel Mach. The Mishnah says every hour when you're allowed to eat chametz, you're allowed to feed chametz. Now, who is that like? The mashma here is that when you're not allowed to eat it, you're also not allowed to feed it. When you're allowed to eat it, you're allowed to feed it. But the truth is, according to Rabbi Yehuda, that wouldn't work. Because according to Rabbi Yehuda, the 4th hour, you eat and you feed. The 5th hour, you don't eat, but you still feed. And the 6th hour, you don't do both. According to Rabbi Meir, it would make very much sense that an hour when mutar lechel is also machel. When you're allowed to eat, you feed. When you don't eat, you don't feed. That's according to Reb Meir, because Reb Meir, the 5th hour, right, you're allowed to eat and you're allowed to feed. And when you're not allowed to eat, you're also not allowed to feed. That is according to Reb Meir. Because again, according to Rabbi Yehuda, in the 5th hour, you're not allowed to eat chametz, but you're still allowed to feed chametz. So you're not going to say, Kol shosh mutar lechel ma'achil. That's not true. It's not true, Kol shosh mutar lechel ma'achil. According to in the 5th hour, it's not mutar lechel, and still ma'achil. So that follows the Meir. We see a Stam Mishnah in Pesachim is embracing the view of Reb Meir. So why would Reb Nachman say in the name of Rav Alachik Rabbi Yehuda when it seems like the Mishnayos itself paskined like Reb Meir? So Reb Nachman says, no, Ahi lav stamahu. That Mishnah is not a Mishnah that's a Stam Mishnah without machloikasin that follows Reb Meir. Stam Mishnah means a Mishnah without an author, without a name. If that Mishnah would say Reb Meir, you would say, okay, that Mishnah is going to Reb Meir. But Stam Mishnah means with no author. That means that's how the Mishnah understood as the halach. And it follows Reb Meir, not like Reb Yehuda. It says, no, Mishum the Kashya Mutter. There's a problem in that Mishnah. It should have said, Kol Shah Sha'oichel Machil. Why Kol Shah Shemutor Lechel Machil? Every hour that you eat, you can feed. Why say Kol Shah that you're allowed to eat? The Kashya Mutter, the word Mutter is problematic. And in order to explain the mutter, you have to say something else. That Mishnah is following Reb Gamliel. Reb Gamliel held that the 4th hour you're allowed to eat everything. The 5th hour you're allowed to eat chametz, that's truma, not chametz of chulin. And the 6th hour you're not allowed to eat anything. In other words, Reb Gamliel didn't hold like Reb Yehuda, he didn't hold like Reb Meir. Reb Meir holds in the 5th hour you can eat everything. Reb Yehuda holds in the 5th hour you can eat nothing. Reb Gamliel has his own opinion. He holds in the 5th hour you're allowed to eat truma, because they wanted to give you an extra hour for truma because we don't like when truma gets destroyed and it's going to have to be burnt because it's chametz, because a kohen can't leave truma in the house for Pesach. It's chametz, by your Matzah. So we want to give him an extra hour to be able to eat the truma, he or his family, etc. But chulin, we don't have to give an extra hour, right? So you won't eat it. And what if you don't find somebody to sell it to? So you'll burn it. So that's what Reb Gamliel holds. That's why it says kol shah shemuter. Kol shah, every hour, shemuter lechel, that somebody is allowed to eat, meaning the kohen is allowed to eat truma, then machel you could feed. That explains the truma. So it actually follows Reb Gamliel. This would work perfectly according to Reb Gamliel. That kol shah shemuter, because if we're talking about Reb Meir, it would say kol shah she'oichel machel, whenever you can eat, you could feed. He doesn't say that. Kol shah shemuter lechel. What does muter lechel mean? It's muter to eat. Somebody has a hectare in the world to eat. Not everybody. Who? A kohen for truma. So Meiler, Reb Nachman says to Rava, there's no proof from this Mishnah according to Reb Meir. Shitta, fakert. The Mishnah is Reb Gamliel. Says, okay, v'nei mamar, the master should say halacha Reb Gamliel. The halacha is like Reb Gamliel. And the reason you should say the halacha is like Reb Gamliel is the havalei machriya, because Reb Gamliel tips the scale. Machriya means he's machriya, he's the one who tips the scale. Meaning, Reb Meir and Reb Yehuda contradict each other. Reb Meir says, I'm going to go with the hours now. Reb Meir says, you can eat chametz till 11. Reb Yehuda says, you can eat chametz till 10. Okay? We have a machloikus. Between 10 and 11, Reb Yehuda says, no. Reb Meir says, yeah. We don't know what to do. 2 shittas. Reb Gamliel tips the scale. He's number 3. We should follow Reb Gamliel. He tips it. He's the majority. And what should we say? When it comes to truma, you can eat it till 11. You know why? Because Reb Gamliel and Reb Meir both hold. You could. So they're the majority against Reb Yehuda. When it comes to chulin, you can't eat it from 10. You know why? Because Reb Yehuda and Reb Gamliel gang up. Reb Yehuda and Reb Gamliel are the majority against Reb Meir. He's the machriya. In each one, he is the one who tips the scale. It's 2 against 1. We have a klal, achrei rabim lahatas. It's not 1 against 1. In each one, we have 2 against 1. So why did you say the halacha Reb Yehuda? You should say halacha Reb Gamliel, because he's the machriya, he's the one who tips the scale. Amalei, Reb Nachman answered, Reb Gamliel lav machriyahu. Reb Gamliel is not tipping the scale. Machriya is not tipping. He's not tipping the balance between Reb Yehuda and Reb Meir. The tam de nafshei ka'amar. He's rather expressing his own shitta completely. Meaning, what is Reb Nachman saying? Let's take a look in Rashi. Lav machriyahu. Lav machriyahu. Kedepirishis lekaman bepirken. I'm going to explain later in Daf Chaf Aleph. The ein achras das shlishis machras. That this is not called a hachra. V'ha achras das shlishisi. This is the hachra of das shlishis, that it's not called a hachra. It's not tipping it. Why? The Reb Meir Reb Yehuda loy airi. The Nehevi Shayach Chiluk Ben Zman Truma L'Zman Chulin Klal. Reb Yehuda and Reb Meir don't acknowledge any difference between Truma and Chulin. The I have a Tanan. If the Mishnah would have said, Reb Meir Omer Echad Toil Chulin ve'Echad Truma Kol Chamash. Reb Yehuda Omer Echad Chulin ve'Echad Truma Kol Arba. Reb Gamliel Omer Chulin Kol Arba Truma Kol Chamash Have Achra. Listen what Rashi is saying. If the Mishnah would have said, Reb Meir says, Truma and Chulin you can eat the 5th hour. Rabbi Yehuda says, no, Truma and Chulin, you can't eat the 5th hour. And Reb Gamliel says, Truma, yeah, Chulin not. That's called tipping the scale. In one area, he sided with Reb Meir, Truma. And in one area you side with Rabbi Yehuda, chulin. That's good. Rabbi Yehuda said, chulin truma, no. Rabbi Meir said, chulin truma, yeah, on the 5th hour. Rabbi Gamliel said, in one I agree with you, in one I agree with you. In chulin I agree with Rabbi Yehuda. In truma I agree with Rabbi Meir. That's called a classic hachra. So you have a majority in both situations, truma and chulin, and you follow the majority. When it comes to chulin, the majority is Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Gamliel against Rabbi Meir, so you're not allowed to eat it. When it comes to truma, the majority is Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Meir against Rabbi, so you're allowed to eat it. That's not what the Mishnah says. The Mishnah doesn't say Rabbi Meir says you can eat chulin and truma. Rabbi Yehuda says no. What happened? But now they did not even mention the word truma and chulin. All they said, Rabbi Meir says oichlin kol chomesh. Rabbi Yehuda says oichlin kol arba. In their das, they didn't express even a hint that there's a svara to be mechalik for whatever reason. They didn't acknowledge that there's such a svara. Lav achroi el dash lishis. This is not called tipping the scale between them. This is not called siding with one of them against the other. This is a dash lishis, a completely independent opinion, and therefore I'm not going to say Rabbi Gamliel is the machriya between them, and I should pass Rabbi Gamliel. And we went back to Rabbi Yehuda, not like Rabbi Meir, because the next mission is anyway not like Rabbi Meir. The next mission is like Rabbi Gamliel, not like Rabbi Meir. Oh, so you're asking, but you have Stam Mishnah like Rabbi Gamliel, Paskin like Rabbi Gamliel mitzat Stam Mishnah, right? So that's Tosfos's question. And we'll understand his answer in a moment. We have to see the Gemarah weiter, then we'll understand his answer. So what is Rashi telling us? What's Pshat in Gemarah? In our case, Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir didn't acknowledge even beremez that there's a difference between truma and chulin. In other words, they both agree that there's no reason to distinguish between truma and chulin. Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Meir have one common denominator. Truma and chulin have to be treated exactly the same way. So Rabbi Gamliel is arguing with both of them. Rabbi Gamliel is arguing with both of them because they both hold between truma and chulin you don't make a distinction. Because they both hold you don't make a distinction between chulin and truma. So therefore Rabbi Gamliel is actually arguing with both of them. If Rabbi Meir would have said that I hold that in the 5th hour you can eat truma and also chulin, and Rabbi Yehuda would say I hold that in the 4th hour only you can eat truma and chulin, and in the 5th hour you're not allowed to eat truma and chulin, then we would look at Rabbi Gamliel's view as a deya machras. As the third view, what do we say? Shnei ksuv ma'makchishim zeh yavoy hakasuv hashlishi v'yachriya beineihem. The kasuv hashlishi tips the scale on one side. And then we know what to do. We have what to do. Rabbi Gamliel comes in and says, okay, I'm going to tip the scale in one way. But since the Meir and Rabbi Yehuda, as Rashi says, weren't even miramas, they don't hold that what? Lo yigilu daitam sheyehi shum remez din lechalik beinayim. They don't believe that there's room for a chilik. So therefore, Rabbi Gamliel's words are considered a third opinion completely. I don't agree with Rabbi Meir. I don't agree with Rabbi Yehuda. I have a different mahalach. So it's an interesting thing because lepoyel mamish, you have a majority. It's very interesting. In other words, if you'll ask Rabbi Gamliel, can I eat chulin at 10 o'clock? Rabbi Gamliel is going to say no. I'll ask Rabbi Yehuda, he'll say no. Rabbi Meir will say yeah. I'll ask Rabbi Gamliel, can I eat truma at 10? Can I eat truma at 10 o'clock? Rabbi Yehuda will say no, but Rabbi Gamliel will say yeah. Rabbi Meir will say yeah. So l'cha'ira, right? When it comes to the 5th hour, you have a consensus of 2/1 in Mitzias. Rabbi Gamliel will say on truma yeah. Rabbi Meir will say on truma yeah. Rabbi Gamliel will say on chulin no. Rabbi Yehuda will say on chulin no. Rabbi Meir will say yes. Nonetheless, this is not called a deya hamachras. It's completely a third different shitta, distinct shitta. So therefore, Reb Nachman says, I don't have a reason, Rav didn't have a reason to say that halacha is like Reb Gamliel versus Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi say another answer, Rav the Amar Kahaitana. Rav said his halacha like another Tana who already established this the halacha. In other words, there's a Tana of a Braisa who tainas that this is the halacha, and because there's a Tana who says this is the halacha, so Rav follows that. What are we talking about? The Tanya, we have a Braisa. What does the Braisa say? Arba asar shechali is b'Shabbos. If you have the 14th day of Nisan on Shabbos, mevarin es hakol melufnei HaShabbos. You can't do b'dikas chametz Friday night because it's Shabbos. So you destroy all the chametz before Shabbos, erev Shabbos, meaning not Yud Daled Nisan, but Yud Gimel Nisan. V'sarfin trumas tmeyas. You have to burn truma chametz that's impure, that a kohen can't eat. Tluyos. Tluyos means it's in limbo. We're not sure if it's tahir or tamei. It's a suffix. Utahiris. And you have to burn even clean truma. We're not allowed to take regular truma that's pure, that a kohen can eat and burn it. You're not allowed to. It's an isum d'Rabbanan to take holy truma and burn it, unless you have to. Erev Pesach, you have to. If you didn't eat it, and you didn't sell it to somebody who can eat it, like a kohen. And the reason is because there's an isur b'hira by Monsey tashbisu, so you have to. The question is, this is still Yud Gimel. So regular chulin to burn is not a big deal. You burn it a day early. But here it's truma. That's the chiddush, that because it's chametz, you have to burn it. You can't burn it on Shabbos. So mele, you have to get rid of it. You have to destroy it out of Shabbos.
If it's truma, it's a chod to a coin, so you're burning it without giving it?
No, the kohen burns it.
The coin's already got
The kohen has it, yeah. But he didn't have a chance to eat it. So basically, you could either say it's an isur d'Rabbanan to burn it, or another shit in Tosfos is that Erev Pesach, it's anyway going to be destroyed because it's going to become Asur Ba'achila, Bahana, and after Pesach, you're not going to be able to eat it. In other words, it's if you don't burn it now, it's anyway going to get destroyed. It's not like, what are you going to do with Pesach, with Chametz on Pesach and after Pesach? So we allow you to burn it a day before. From the tahir food, from the truma that's tahir, the kohen should leave over mazon shtei sudas. Food for 2 meals, meaning Friday night and Shabbos day. Friday night and Shabbos day you should leave over because you need chametz to eat. So you can leave over for the meal. Fine. Kedei lechel ad arba shayos, to eat till the end of 4 hours. Divrei Rabbi Elazar ben Yehuda ish partoisa sha'amar mishum Rabbi Yeshua. These are the words of Rabbi Elazar, the son of Yehuda from Bartoisa, who said in the name of Rabbi Yeshua. What do we see from here? He said to eat it till the end of 4 hours. Who is he following? Rabbi Yehuda. So Rav saw this brayse. He saw there's a Tana, Rabbi Yeshua, and Rabbi Elazar, who clearly paskin like Rabbi Yehuda. So mainly he has Sai Rabbi Yehuda, and Sai he has this Tana. That's why he did it. That's the Iba Yisema, why he doesn't follow Rem Gamliel. That's the answer to the question. Hasfriya gefragt, l'chayr Rem Gamliel is Stam Mishnah, right? So if you take a look in Tosfos, the first Tosfos, v'kashal eri dilei ma'alacha kirem gamliel d'sasam montana kavasei v'peire kol shah midiktani mutter v'afili misapkelem yesh ledaktik b'loshin mutterim lav mekal monkam nei ma'alacha kirem meirim gamliel d'memanav shechahid kol shah kichad minayuasi. Even if it's not clear that mutter means that it's like the shit of Rem Gamliel, but it's either Reb Meir or Rem Gamliel v'yashleima di'ayboyis ema samech. That he's relying on the Iba Yisema, the second answer in the Gemarah, that even though there's a Stam Mishnah, Kerem Gamliel, Kerem Meir, but you see clearly that there were Tanoim, Rabbi Yeshua, and Rabbi Elazar, who paskened like Reb Yehuda, and therefore Rav follows this Tana, who said that the halacha is, as we're going to see soon, we're going to see soon about the halacha, but he's following this brayse. Okay, so Rabbi Yeshua says, Rabbi Elazar says in the name of Rabbi Yeshua, you leave over the chametz and you burn everything Erev Pesach and you eat it till the end of 4 hours. Amru Loi, the Chachamim said, Tahiris lo yisarfu. Do not burn Erev Shabbos, the pure truma. Shema yimtzula and eichlin. Maybe you're going to find somebody to eat it Friday afternoon, Friday night, Shabbos morning. You'll find a kohen to eat it. Do not destroy Truma Tahira on Yud Gimel Nisan Erev Shabbos. Why? You don't destroy Truma. Hope that you're going to find Koyanim and they're going to eat it. What happens if you don't find Koyanim to eat it? So as Rashi says, you'll give it to the dog of a Koyan because a Koyan's animal is allowed to eat Truma. Or you'll be at Mavatal. You'll do Bittel. You don't have a choice. You'll do Bittel. Yutaka won't do beer, but at least you'll do Bittel so you won't be over there Raisa. A kohen who has truma.
Why is the question, perhaps you'll find someone that can eat it then?
Because he doesn't have enough people to eat it.
He can't eat it himself?
No, too much. He can't eat it enough. Yeah, he has a surplus. In other words, for his house, for his children, for his wife, for his servants, he already has food. The problem is he has a surplus of truma. So we're saying to burn it. So the Chacham said, do not destroy it. With your hands, you don't let truma get destroyed. Try to find somebody. What if you don't? You're going to be over by Rabbi Monsey. You'll feed it to the dog of a kohen. You'll be at Mavatal. Amar lahen, Rebbe Elazar said, what do you think? Obviously, if you have somebody, I'm not telling you to burn it. We're talking about a guy. The guy looked around. He knows who there is. He knows the people. He knows the people in Shul. He knows the Arachim. He already looked. He doesn't have anybody. Obviously, he looked. Amrulai shema chutz l'chaim alano. Maybe there's koyanim who slept outside of the wall of the city, and they're going to show up Shabbos morning, and you'll give it to them. In other words, you're saying he looked. Where did he look? He looked at his neighbors, people in Shul, but maybe there's people who came from another town. They slept outside of the Chaima. We can't say they slept far away, because if it was Tchum Shabbos, they wouldn't be able to walk on Shabbos. But they slept close to the wall, so you didn't know about them Erev Shabbos. Because you didn't know about them Erev Shabbos, they'll show up on Shabbos. You never know. The point is, you never know. Maybe somebody will show up Shabbos in Shul, and he's a Kohen. You say, great, I have 6 challahs for you to eat. Come to my house. We're going after Shachris and Musaf to eat chametz. Amar lahem. Rebbe Elazar says, L'divreichem, according to you guys, that I have to worry about people sleeping outside of the city and then showing up after Shabbos, and that's why I didn't know about them, right? L'divreichem, according to you, that on Shabbos, Arachim could come. According to me, I'm saying, listen, it's very unlikely that Arachim are going to come on Shabbos. If the Arachim came, they came before Shabbos, and I already looked for them. I found out. So there's no reason to leave the truma around. They kind of destroyed. You're telling me to be chayshish, that somebody will show up, and where were they before Shabbos? They were outside of the city. And they came in, and they slept outside of the city. Fine. Even truma that's a suffix tamei and tahir, you shouldn't burn. You said, don't burn tahiris, the truma that's tahir. Even if it's tahir, you shouldn't. Why? You're talking about possibilities. Let me give you a possibility. Shema Yavu Eliyahu. Maybe Eliyahu Hanavi is going to come Friday afternoon, or Friday night, or Shabbos morning. V'yitari. We know before Mashiach comes, Eliyahu Hanavi is going to be sent to herald the coming of Mashiach. The Navi Malachi says, Hinini shaleach lechem es Eliyahu Hanavi, lifnei boy yoim Hashem, hagadol v'hanayr. And we know Eliyahu Hanavi is going to answer all the questions and doubts that we never had an answer for. So Eliyahu Hanavi is going to come Friday night. He's going to look at this truma and he's going to say, tar. And if it's tar, you burnt it. You burnt truma tar when there could have been a kohen to eat it Shabbos morning. So you're telling me Eliyahu Hanavi is going to come. Well, maybe, yeah, the same thing. You have to worry about Archim who are sleeping in the forest. Right? And that's why I can't burn truma tar even though I don't have gas. Really? I have a better suffix. Mashiach could come any day. Eliyahu Hanavi comes before. So how could you burn tluyas? That's a shaila. Amrulai, they told Rebbe Elazar, Kvar muftach le'en Yisrael. It's been promised to Jews. She'ein Eliyahu ba loy ba'arvei Shabbosais v'loy ba'arvei yomim tovim mipnei ha'torach. Fascinating. It's been promised to Jews that Eliyahu Hanavi is not going to show up Erev Shabbos and Erev Yom Tov. Because of the bother, meaning Jews are busy preparing Erev Shabbos and Erev Yom Tov, Suda Shabbos and Yom Tov, and they're going to have to leave their preparations to go greet Eliyahu Hanavi. So Eliyahu Hanavi is not going to come Erev Shabbos and Erev Yom Tov. Rashi says, "B'pnei ha'torach sheyesh len lasik b'suda Shabbos v'yitordu boy." If Eliyahu Hanavi comes, they're going to become consumed with Eliyahu Hanavi. But leifen and the gospel, and they're busy with Suda Shabbos and Suda Yom Tov. It's going to be a tremendous stress on them. Too much to do. So Mele Muftach Le'en Yisrael Eliyahu is not showing up Erev Shabbos and Erev Yom Tov. If that's the case, this is Erev Shabbos. It's Friday. So since it's Friday, so Eliyahu Hanavi is not coming today. Tomorrow Shabbos is Erev Yom Tov. It's Erev Pesach. Eliyahu Hanavi is not coming. So therefore, we don't have to worry that he's going to come and say that the Truma is Tahir. But we do have to worry that there may be Koyanim outside of the city who are going to show up Friday night or Shabbos day, and they're going to eat the Truma.
The Kohanim have a problem with the Pekum, but Eliyahu Hanavi doesn't. And coming from outside the render the Tahar on Shabbos, the Truma, they can come. There's 2,000 Amish women, right? But we don't say that Elijah is subject to that.
No, l'chayr also. L'chayr also.
That's the finish.
No, I'm saying he's coming on Shabbos to declare it.
When the Gemarah, but this is talking about Friday. Yeah, they have to be within the Tchum Shabbos to come.
They have to come on Shabbos to eat. So we're talking about on Shabbos.
On Shabbos they come to eat. Yeah. Eliyahu Hanavi, we have a promise he's not coming. Rashi says a lashon in Erev in Daf Mem Gimel. Manichin sarchei Shabbos v'holchin lahakbil ponav. Everybody's going to throw away the sarchei Shabbos and going to go run to be makabel ponim. Eliyahu Hanavi. I saw in a sefer about the brisker of Rabbi Yitzchak Ze'ev Halevi Celebration, Rabbi Yovel Brisker, that he was once by the Chabiner of in Yerushalayim, Rabbi Dov Berish Weidenfeld. And at the end of the Shmuas, he wished him, he said that he should be Zoicha to be makabel pnei Mashiach. So the Brisker of says, what's the source? That we're going to go be makabel pnei Mashiach. The Brisk, everything needs a source. So he says, Arashi and Erevin. Holchin lahakbel ponav, Eliyahu Hanavi, Avad Mashiach. And the Brisker of came home. His family said he was tzibroch and that he forgot such a Rashi, a clear Rashi, in Maseches Erev and Daf Mem Gimel, and he sat down for days and started to learn Gemarah and Rashi like a yeshiva bocher, just to freshen up. He felt very hurt that he forgot such a clear Rashi. The Jews are going to throw everything away and go be makabel pnei Eliyahu Hanavi. Here you see the gewaldige inyan of Tzarchei Shabbos. A balabosta stands in the kitchen as preparing the fish and the kugel and the cholent and the kishka and the chicken for Shabbos. So muftach le'en yisod Eliyahu Hanavi is not going to come to disturb Tzarchei Shabbos and Tzarchei Yom Tov, and therefore the Chachamim knew that he's not coming to paskin about the Truma. I saw one of the Mefarshim asks if you would ask the Jews what they would prefer, the kugel on Shabbos or Eliyahu Hanavi to come. They would prefer for sure Eliyahu Hanavi to come, right? It says that even a tainus cholim you could fast on Shabbos because it's oineg ulai, right? If somebody has a tainug in fasting, so that's his oineg Shabbos. Nobody tells you what oineg Shabbos. Usually the oineg is not to fast, but if somebody's halach, if somebody's tainug is to fast, so then you could fast on Shabbos, a tainus cholim or these types. If that's your oineg, if that's in other words, if that's pleasurable, l'chayrav they would know Eliyahu Hanavi is coming to be mavaseh, the Mashiach is coming. So it's like, well, we won't have chicken for Shabbos, we won't have food. Fine, we'll starve a day, but Mashiach to come. Yeah. So l'chayrav the pshat is that Eliyahu Hanavi will come a day earlier, not a day later. In other words, Eliyahu Hanavi would come a day earlier, not to delay it, but to come a day earlier, not to disturb Tzarchei Shabbos and Tzarchei Yom Tov. That's the pshat. But I'll call upon him. It was such a tradition that the Chachamim said that there's no reason to say that he's going to come for the Truma, and therefore you don't have to worry about that. But what you do have to worry is not to burn the Truma Tahira because of the Koyan. Zog the Gemarah, Amru, they said, the Brisa finishes, Lo Zazu Misham, they didn't go away from there, Achakavu Halacha Rabbi Elazar ben Yehuda Ish Bar Toiser Shama Misham Yeshua. They made the halacha like Rabbi Elazar, that on Erev Shabbos you could burn even the Truma. What do we see from here? The halacha is like Rabbi Elazar. When Rav saw this brisa, he said, obviously the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda. You're telling me there's a Reb Meir, there's a Stam Mishnah Reb Gamliel, or like Reb Meir, but they clearly, the Tanoim said that this is the halacha, if this is the halacha, so that's why it's Adar b'Shayos. Zag the Gemarah, no, my lava afilu lecha. When it says the halacha is like Rabbi Elazar, does it mean also in what he said, that you can eat it only till 4 hours? It says, Amar of Papa Mishmei Rav Eloi Levayir. Rava, the one who was asking the question of Nachman, says, no, that's not what the halacha is. The halacha is Levayir, on the detail that you have to destroy the truma Erev Shabbos, that's where the halacha is like Rabbi Elazar. Unlike the Chachamim who said leave it around till tomorrow, even though you may not have anybody to eat it, and you're gonna remain with chametz on Pesach, and you'll do bittul. The halacha is no, you can get rid of the chametz, destroy the chametz Erev Shabbos. But nobody knows that the halacha was also on the detail that you can eat it only till the end of 4 hours. Maybe you can eat it till the end of 5 hours. We're not sure. Maybe yes, but maybe not. So Mele Rava is still not sure why Reb Nachman had to choose, Reb Nachman, the name of Rav, had to choose the halacha like Reb Yehuda. So the Gemarah Vaf Rebbe Savala Reb Nachman. But the truth is, even Rebbe agrees with Reb Nachman. That doesn't mean Rebbe agrees with Reb Nachman. Reb Nachman came after Rebbe, but it means even from Rebbe we see that the halacha is like Rabbi Yehuda. The Amar Ravin by Rav Adar, Ravin the son of Rabbi Adar said a story, fascinating story. Ma'isa b'adam echad, there was a person shehifkid eskayim alei chametz etzel yochanan chakuka. He took a saddlebag filled with chametz and he deposited it by a man named Yochanan Chakuka. Now, just the word disakiya is basically an abbreviation of two words, du sakim, which means double saddles. Two saddlebags they would hang from the two sides of the donkey. So he gave him a disakaya, which is a double saddlebag of chametz to Yochanan. V'nikvu achborim, and mice perforated the saddlebag. V'hoya chametz mevatzpeitz v'yoytze, and the chametz was now getting lost. The chametz was coming out from the bag, and it was Erev Pesach. Ubalifnei Rebbe. So Yochanan came to Rebbe. What is he supposed to do? Usually, you're not allowed to do anything with somebody's Pekudei, with somebody's deposit, like sell it, unless you have his permission. You gave me something, I'm holding it. I'm going to give it back to you, whatever happens. But here, there was a problem. Why? Because it's Erev Pesach. Yeah. Soon the chametz is going to become asur. There's mice who perforated it, so the chametz is being lost. What am I supposed to do? Shor Rishona, the first hour, he came at 6. Amaloi hamten, wait. The owner gave you chametz, don't do anything. Maybe he'll come and he'll eat it before the zman. Shniya amaloi hamten, shlishis amaloi hamten, revius amaloi hamten, chamishis amaloi tseo moicher b'shuk. The 5th hour, he said, go and sell it in the marketplace. The 5th hour. In other words, till 10 o'clock, he says, wait, don't do anything. Frag the Gemarah, my lav l'nochrim. Who should you sell it to? To non-Jews. Rabbi Yehuda, like Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says you're not allowed to eat chametz after the 4th hour, so go sell it. If you're allowed to eat chametz like Rabbi Meir, why go sell it? The guy may come and eat it. Why go sell it? So l'chayre is a raya to the shita of Rabbi Yehuda. In other words, since he can't eat it then, so he said, go sell it to non-Jews. It's still mutter b'hana, and you could sell it. If you leave it in your house, the guy is going to lose everything. So you're going to give him back nothing because it's going to become chametz. It's going to be asur b'hana. The first hours of the day, even though there's mice, he still didn't give him a heter to do anything with it. But the 5th hour, when basically it's the deadline, because if you wait till the 6th hour, it's gone, right? So what did he say? He said, sell it. Why did the Gemarah think that he means selling it to a guy? Why did he mean selling it to a guy? L'cha'oida, as Tosfos says, because if it would be mutter for a Jew, then as we'll soon see, he didn't have to sell it. He can eat it himself and then pay the guy back or give it to a Jew to eat. Amar Rabbi Yosef loyal Yisrael. Maybe he meant to sell it to a Jew. Reb Meir, like Reb Meir. In other words, when he said sell it in the 5th hour, he didn't mean sell it to a guy. He just said sell it. He meant to a Jew. Why did he say sell it? Pashut. Because in the 6th hour, you can't do anything with it. It's going to be asur b'hana. Now at least you could sell it. So therefore, you could make some money from it. But it doesn't mean sell it to a non-Jew. So that's what Rabbi Yosef says. There's no raya from Rebbe that he paskin like Rabbi Yehuda. Maybe he paskin like Rabbi Meir. So he told Yochanan Chakukah, go sell the chametz at the beginning of the 5th hour. In the 5th hour he could still eat it. You're right, in the 5th hour he could still eat it. He didn't mean that he can't eat it in the 5th hour. We thought sell it to a guy. Why? Because it's the 5th hour, and a Jew can't eat it, so you can't sell it to a Jew. And that's why you should sell it, because he can't eat it anymore. He said, no, really? He could sell it to a Jew. If he could still eat it, so why do you have to sell it? The answer is, because he may not come. And if he may not come, what's going to be left with? He's going to be left with nothing. At least sell it, even to a Jew. So you'll make a couple of dollars, and you'll give him something. That's the vart. One second. If it's like Reb Meir, so he could take it himself and eat it, and then pay him the money. Once you have to go look for a coin. Meila, if you teach that I can't take it for myself because I'm a Jew and it's like Rabbi Yehuda, I have to sell it to a god. But you're telling me I could sell it to a Jew because it's like Reb Meir and a Jew can eat it. So then what do you have to sell it? Rabbi should say, go eat it, and you'll pay him back. Go feed your family. So Rabbi Yosef said, no, Mishum Chashada. This would create suspicion. Very interesting. The Tanya, the Brisa says, Gaboy tzedakah shein lemaniyim lechalek, pertin la'acherim. If you have people who collect money for tzedakah, there's no poor people to give the money to. Pertin la'acherim. So they have to take the copper coins and exchange it for silver coins, which don't get moldy. But ve'ein pertin la'atzman. They can't do this themselves. They can't exchange the copper coins that they have for tzedakah with their own silver coins and take the copper coins for themselves and make an exchange. They have to do it only with other people. They can go to a businessman and say, here we have a lot of copper coins, let's exchange for silver. Why? The same thing, Gaboy Tamchoy. Gaboy Tamchoy means platters, soup kitchens. They would collect food from Jews to feed poor people. They had like what we call soup kitchens. They don't have poor people. They could take the food and sell it to others. They can't sell the food for themselves and give the money to the tzedakah. Moshe Rabbeinu tells the Bnei Gad, Bnei Reuven, in Parshas Matos, you have to be clean in the eyes of Hashem and in the eyes of the Jewish people. B'meila, the person who's having a pikadon, if I have your chametz, to take it from myself and then to pay you back, it looks suspicious to you, to your family, to your wife, to children, to shchen. It looks suspicious, even though you're paying him back. Just like here, they're not stealing. But Mele, Rabbi said, go sell it to somebody else. So it's clear that you have no shaykhis with taking. Amalei Rabbi Adar b'masel Rabbi Yosef. Rabbi Adar b'masel tells Rabbi Yosef, befeidish amritlon. You yourself told us, seyu moichel anachim Rabbi Yehuda. You yourself told us that the Pshat Rebbe was sell it to a non-Jew in the 5th hour because a Jew can't eat it because like Rabbi Yehuda. So why are you saying now that Rabbi Yosef says here, no, it means to sell it to a Jew. If you're selling it to a Jew, take it for yourself, it's Mishum Chshada. You yourself told us otherwise. And Rashi here says something. Rashi says, the second to the last line, Rabbi Yosef chala v'shachach talmudei. Rabbi Yosef became ill and he forgot his learning. So when Rabbi Yosef would sometimes say something, contradict to what he once said because he forgot, so his Talmidim would say that you told us differently. And that's what happened here. When Rabbi Yosef heard this story that Rabbi Paskin, like Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yosef said, no, there's no raya. Rabbi meant to sell it to Jews. And his Talmud, Rabbi Adar bar Masna, said, you forgot what you once taught us clearly, that Rabbi meant l'nachrim. I'll call upon him. What do we see from here? That Rabbi also, according to this tradition, Rabbi holds like Rabbi Yehuda, that you cannot eat chametz in the 5th hour, and therefore Rabbi said, sell it. He didn't say, sell it. He didn't say, give it to yourself, take it for yourself. Over there you could say mitzat chshada, but even if not for a chshad, because you can't do anything with it because a Jew can't eat. Nor did he want you to sell it to a Jew, because that's not going to help. A Jew won't buy it because he can't do anything with it. Because a Jew can't eat chametz, it's the 5th hour, it's not like Reb Meir. What he meant was sell it to a non-Jew, and the reason is obvious, so that when the guy comes back, he should at least have some money and not lose everything. The Vils wissen, das Geuse gewesen in the Bezdin for Rabbi Yehuda and Reb Meir. I don't know the answer.
This class is brought to you by theyeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. Make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net/donate.